Hey everyone, welcome back. This is going to be part 5 of making this low poly character, and the goal of this part is to finish up the character including the other side. So in the last video I was starting to shape the character from the side view, and what I realized, modeler realization, is that I should have set up the side view from the very get-go, and I should have been shaping the character from the side view from the very beginning, but lesson learned. So I'm starting at the head here and I'm shaping it. It looks pretty good, but I realized that I need another segment here in the neck because I can't bring it in to do this cut here. So I'm in face mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to left mouse click and I'm going to select this part of the neck where I need an extra edge. And so with that part selected, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on Cut Plane. Left click once, move my mouse, left click a second time, and then the cut plane goes through. Okay, looks pretty graphic. So you can see the cut plane over here. So now that I'm happy with the cut, over here on the right, to make the cut plane disappear, I've discovered that you need to select right here under the polymesh category, right where it says slice cut. So you see that it disappears. The cut has been made, it's right there. If I click back on the list over here where it says plane, there's the plane again. I can go ahead and I can move it, but I'm just gonna click on slice cut, and then there it is. Okay, so now what I can do is I can switch to vertex mode. So I get all my good vertices, and I can select, and I should be able to bring it up and in. There we go. So I just needed a little extra geometry to be able to do that. Another way that you could have done that is if I had recreated the head or deleted it and modeled it again, I could have done what's called an inset and come in and done that there. But I think this will work out for now. I'm hoping. We'll see. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and continue. Just going down the edges of the character and just kind of generally shaping. And again, I'm not following the reference exactly, but I'm going to go ahead and try to loosely follow it here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and just start working down the front and the back, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so I'm back. I've just been shaping the character. Again, not following it exactly, but pretty darn close. So you can see it's looking pretty good so far. I'm going to finish up on the foot here. Again, so what I'm doing is I'm in vertex mode. I will click and drag to select the vertices that I want to work with. And then I'll go ahead and from the side view, I'm just checking them out. And then just repeat. Click and drag, select. And just shape them. Constantly checking over here in the perspective view just to make sure that things are looking all right. Of course, there are always rooms for surprises with anything, but okay, so this might be the moment of truth. I'm just checking out the front and the side view. I'm going to go ahead and, with my character selected, I'm going to come back over here to my Explorer tab, click on the character material that I made, and I'm going to change the opacity. I'm going to change it back to 1. Press return. Now I can see a nice solid view, so I can just see it a little bit better. Check it out. Okay. I think it looks good. I think we're ready for the next two big steps. So the next steps are to add in a mesh modifier. We're going to smooth this character out, which is going to add geometry and make it smoother. And then we're going to mirror it. Okay, so there's two ways we can go about doing this. So what I've got now in front of you is I've got the entire object selected. I'm in object mode, not face mode, not edge mode. I'm just selecting the entire object. So I can either do the mirror first and then the smoothing, or I can do the smoothing first and then the mirror. And they're both the same actions, but they're in a different order. And you would think that it would give the exact same result. But for some strange reason, it doesn't. So I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and do the mirror first, and then I'll do the smooth. So you'll see over here I have two tools, one called symmetry and one called mirror. And they are kind of the same, but they're slightly different. Either will work. We can just click on what symmetry will do is symmetry will keep this side over here and give me the other side, and it'll make it symmetrical. So if I just click on it, you'll see, there we go. We've got the second side over there. I'm going to come back over here and delete that or undo it. If I choose mirror, you'll see that it just does a mirror flip. And that, of course, you don't want that. But you can come over here, and we have, it's the same operator over here called symmetry mirror. And you can come down here, and you can still turn on the options called slice and copy and mirror, and you'll get the exact same thing. So you really can't go wrong. I'm going to go with symmetry, and notice the three checkboxes that I have over here. I'm going to actually click on this fourth checkbox here called weld seam. And what that should do is it should stitch these all together. So the seam where this character is being put together, it should weld those or stitch them together. Okay, so the symmetry is done. Now I'll come over here and I'll click on the name symmetry mirror just to get rid of that, hide that plane. Now when I come over here and I click on mesh smooth, you'll see he gets a tear going right down the middle of his chest. And so I of course thought, well, maybe it's because I did something wrong. Or there's something wrong with the model and I need to go back and I need to fix it. What do I do? Well, if I come over here and I'm going to delete these, I'm going to take them back. I can either undo or right here where it says mesh smooth, just click on the little X. And I'll click on the little X for symmetry mirror, and I'm back to my half character. So this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the mesh smooth first. It looks okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and do symmetry. And now you'll notice that I get the exact same results minus the hole in the chest. So that's very strange to me. Now, if I move the symmetry mirror plane, you'll see that it doesn't quite, the character's not really attached. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that over here where it says local center on the x-axis, I want that to be 0. There we go. And I want to weld the seam. So I want that fourth checkbox there. I want all four taken care of. So now, let's see. Nope. Still not doing it. Okay. 0. Okay. There we are. So I wanted to share with you something that I just discovered that I think is pretty cool. So I realized that the groin area of my character here is not quite lining up with my reference image. So I wanted to go in and remodel that, or at least move some of the vertices around. So what I did was I came over here, and under the polymesh category, I decided to come over here, and I didn't want to delete, I didn't want to undo and go back. I didn't want to delete the symmetry mirror, and I didn't want to delete the mesh smooth. So what I did instead was I just hid them. So you click on the little eyeball here, and that hides them. So there I am hiding the symmetry, so no symmetry. And here I am hiding the mesh smooth. So now what I did was I selected the vertices, move them down. So that area is looking a little bit better. Okay, just little tweaks. There we go. Okay, but now when I come back over here and I turn on symmetry, you'll see that, what the heck, the change goes away. So why is that? Well, what I discovered is that you can actually drag these operators up and down, and that will affect when they happen. So it's kind of like playing with time. So if I drag the symmetry mirror plane, if I drag it up in the list, you'll see that the change comes back. So I think I want this to be at the top of the list. Yeah. Okay, and again, it's kind of like playing with time, which is really neat. And then I'll come down here and I'll find the mesh smooth, and I'll drag that up. And of course I need to see it. Okay. Okay, so I dragged those, I dragged the symmetry and the mesh smooth up here. Let's see what happens if I drag the mesh smooth above everything. Yep, that tear occurs. It just doesn't like it in that order. Okay, well, it's cool that you can drag these up and down. It's very helpful. There we go. Okay, so I've changed the color of my character, which is optional. Let me turn off edges here so you can see. All right, so there is my character. One last thing I will show you is that when you have the mesh smooth selected over here on the right, there is a setting here called subdivisions, and mine is set to 1, which is the default. And that determines how much geometry you have and how much smoothing you have. So if I change that to, say, 2 and press return, you'll see now I get a little bit smoother character, but it's much more complex with the geometry over here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to 1. Increasing our geometry, of course, is going to increase everything. Our character's file size will be a little bit larger. Mixamo and Play Canvas, the video game engine, will have a little bit more to deal with because there's more geometry. So I'm going to try running this with a subdivision of 1 and see how well it animates in Mixamo, and then maybe I'll try it with a setting of 2 and see if I like it better. But this is it. As far as I'm concerned, the modeling is pretty much done. Thanks so much for sticking in, everyone, and I will see you in the next and last video.